Okay. Good morning to our media participants joining us for our SWAC Football Championship media session. We'll begin at approximately 10 a.m. with our media session. We do want to make a few quick announcements before we get started. If you do have any questions for any of our attendees or panelists that are speaking during our media session, if you could please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in the queue. We ask that you please limit your questions to one initial question if there are several questions there in the queue. If we do have additional time, feel free to re-raise your hand. We'll work our way back to get additional questions answered. We ask you please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question, and please ensure that your line is actively muted unless you are actively asking a question. We'll begin at approximately 10 a.m. We'll be joined by SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClelland from 10:15 to 10:30. We'll be joined by Coach Terence with Southern University, and from 10:30 to 10:45, we'll be joined by Coach T.C. Taylor with Jackson State. We'll pause momentarily. Appreciate your patience. All right. Once again, for our media attendees participating on our call, if you do have questions, we ask you please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClelland. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Andrew, and good morning to everyone here. Before I get started, I would like to send a heartfelt condolence to the family of Medrick Burnett, the student athlete that passed at Alabama A&M. Our hearts and prayers go to the family. Tragic, and just want you to know that the SWAC family is thinking and praying for the family. Second, would like to say congratulations to Coach Taylor and Coach Graves for making it to the SWAC championship game. Outstanding season for both coaches, both institutions, and are looking forward to a great championship this Saturday. So with that, I will pause and we'll open it up for questions.
Once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions. First question goes to James Hill.
Good morning. Hope everybody is well. Can you talk a little bit about the state of the SWAC in terms of media, eyeballs, coverage, circulation, and those who are getting an opportunity to enjoy the SWAC, if you will?
Well, Mr. Hill, we haven't received all of the numbers from our media partners, but the initial indication is that those numbers still remain extremely high. Last year, we know from a digital perspective, we had 23 million hours watched just on the digital, not on the linear side. We get those numbers probably 3 or 4 weeks after each game is played. So we're still compiling that those data points, but it seems that we are tracking along the same lines. You know, Southwestern Athletic Conference football has continued to be well watched, well attended. We're very confident this year that we're going to lead the nation in FCS attendance again. This game on Saturday will be broadcast on ESPN2, which will give us additional eyeballs as well. So we're trending to be at the top again as far as attendance, as well as those numbers that we had last year from a media perspective as far as the number of hours watched which, again, in this era, you have to take the numbers in linear, but the digital numbers are equally important and equally strong. So we like where we are at this point in time.
The ongoing conversation of expansion, from time to time, that topic is on the table. When we think about expansion with brands like the Tennessee State University, even a North Carolina A&T, what goes through your mind when we think about the discussion of expansion?
Well, I think we've been pretty clear on what our position is. We were extremely happy to bring in Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman University. We will remain flexible and diligent in this arena of expansion, and we always like to be proactive, not reactive.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Dr. Cavill.
I had a chance to, like many people, probably got a chance to see the meeting that you had with the Board of Supervisors, and you provided a financial update. So I won't belabor that point. That information is clearly out there. But if you would, are you able to provide, a strategic plan? I'm sure have one. I don't know where you are in terms of the years on that. So whether it is providing a year-long update or maybe 1 to 5 years, where is your vision along with the chancellors and presidents of the SWAC in collaboration? Where is your vision for where you see the SWAC over the next 5 years, if you would?
Yeah, as you know, we developed a strategic plan. That plan is constantly updated. And we work with our membership to ensure that that plan includes their vision. And that's ultimately where our strategic plan comes from. And that is where the membership wants to go. And I would say, we are within what we established 6 years ago, we're ahead of. We created a 10-year strategic plan, and we've updated that plan quite a bit. That called for strengthening the academic component, which ultimately has happened. When you look at our APR rates, when you look at our graduation rates, they have significantly increased. We wanted to financially improve our position, not only within the conference, but within the membership, and increase our distribution to our memberships. And we are well on track in doing that as well. We wanted to make sure that we got additional games on linear television and to expand our entire brand. We were fortunate enough this year to get all of our football games on some form of television, whether that was on the digital side or the linear side. The plan for that is to expand that. Basketball has increased this year about 45%. So there are going to be more games on basketball this year, men and women. And we want to expand that not only just for basketball, but all of our sports. So we're continually working on that plan as well. So when you start talking about growth and growth of the conference, we want to make sure that we continue to be and have an integral say in the direction of where the NCAA goes. We talked about this a little earlier about the amount of people that are on those NCAA committees to make sure that we have the say-so and have some input in the direction that we go. So we also wanted to increase our footprint within the NCAA structure. And I think we've done that as well. So as this conference continues to grow, as we continue to gain the credibility nationally, as we continue to compete on a national basis and win some of those games and the nation sees us, it elevates the conference, which is the back part of that strategic plan. So there has to be a lot of work done on the front end in order for us to achieve that on the back end. And, make no mistake about it, we want to be the preeminent, the strongest conference, not just FCS conference, not just Black College conference. Still a lot of work to be done, but you have to get your academics straight. You have to get your finances straight. You have to get all of those things in order to be able to continue to etch up. And finally, I would be remiss, Dr. Cavill, if I did not talk about President Quentin Ross being on the Division I Board of Directors and the Finance Committee. He's at the highest level. It took credibility. It took years in order for us to get there. So as we talk about strengthening the conference and achieving all of our goals, so our student athletes can get in, get the dollars that they need to be educated and be put back out in society where they can make impacts, provide for their families. And at the end of the day, that is our ultimate goal, to take the historically underserved, educate them through this world of sport to where they can get out and make a significant difference in society.
Thank you, Dr. McClelland. Thank you, Andrew.
Yes, sir. Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday, excuse me, Doc Holliday with HBCU Overdrive. How you doing today, Commissioner?
Doing fine, Mr. Holliday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. The recent fights that happened over the weekend with the rivalry games, what was your plan as far as what you did with the Jackson State Alabama State game? What are your plans to try to implement this for the next season when it comes to fines and suspensions? Are you more likely going to stay the same, or are you going to get tougher with penalties of what we saw from this past weekend?
Well, we will evaluate that. We'll get the membership in, and if you take a look at what our penalties were, they were pretty stiff. I'm pretty sure you saw when you say this weekend, I'm assuming you're meaning the past weekend, because this weekend there were several fights at the FBS level. I just saw where the Big Ten did $100,000 fine, no suspensions. At our level, we did $25,000, and we suspended quite a number of student athletes. So we have evaluated this. We will take it back not only to our athletic directors, senior women's administrators, as well as our presidents, and see if we need to strengthen that. There has been some discussion about us taking a look at flag planting at the 50-yard line and whether or not that's something that should not be allowed. We haven't gotten that far yet. That will be part of the discussion in the offseason.
All right, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Daniels.
Commissioner, there seems to be a movement around the country to move away from the divisional structured format. Is there any conversation in the SWAC on moving away from that type of structure and just to a conference as opposed to the two divisions?
Yes, we have had that discussion, and those discussions are ongoing. It starts with the football coaches and their input on which direction they would like to see. The athletic directors and the senior women's administrators will make that ultimate decision. That is a decision that is made by the membership, not the conference office. Once we discuss it, and if there is a change, then we will implement that change. So yes, there are discussions, but it rests with the athletic directors and the senior women's administrators to make that final decision.
And Commissioner, there was some discussion this year during the football season about the quality of officials. How would the Commissioner's office rate the quality of officiating in football in the Southwestern Athletic Conference?
Well, we evaluate our football on a week-to-week basis, and then once we conclude the season, we go back, we meet with the coordinator, we look at all calls. So, I will fall a little short today by giving a grade without having reviewed all of the film and the totality. We strive very diligently to keep football officiating at a high level. I can tell you, though, that part of our issue within the Southwestern Athletic Conference is we've lost quite a few officials going up to higher leagues. So we realize that we're a league that we have to go out, recruit, attract, and do all that we can to retain our quality officials. But the bigger leagues are coming to get them. So that means that we have to have a robust training program. So we evaluate our officiating, we evaluate our coordinated officials. Obviously, we have a officiating committee within the SWAs and the ADs that will take a look at it in postseason, and then we'll make those adjustments from there. But we always strive to have adjustments in our officiating and to provide the highest quality of officiating that we possibly can.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Next question goes to Timona Stapleton.
Good morning, Commissioner McClelland. How are you doing?
Doing fine, ma'am. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you. I had a chance, as many others, to look at the board of, I guess it was the board of Southern Board of Directors, or you were talking about the NCAA's 105 rule for the preseason rosters. And then I think you also talked a little bit about the NCAA settlement, and how the SWAC schools are paying into it, but we won't actually benefit from it. Can you elaborate a little bit, because you said that we're in a financially good space? Can you elaborate a little bit about how the NCAA settlement will directly affect the SWAC, and what you're implementing to help with that funding that we won't be receiving?
Well, I think you really have to go back and take a look at the settlement. The settlement hasn't been approved yet, so there's a lot that we don't know. The 105 is the proposed football roster limit. So instead of having 63, partial scholarships that you can fund to make 63 full, it's going to be 105. So you can do what you want up to the 105. You can opt in or opt out. If you don't opt in, you won't be able to give name, image, and likeness dollars. So the settlement still has to be approved. What we talked about in that board meeting was that the Southwestern Athletic Conference total payment to the settlement is approximately $30 million, which over the course of 10 years, the schools are going to end up paying about $3 million or $300,000 per year. The conference will continue to try to generate corporate partnerships through our television revenue, through all of the means that we have to help the schools make up that $300,000. But there are some things that will happen through the NCAA. So, for example, a lot of those dollars for the first 3 years are not going to have restrictions on them. So therefore, where you would normally get money that was specifically for academics or specifically for some other area, schools are going to have the freedom and the flexibility of moving those dollars around. We think that that's going to help some as well, as far as making sure that the greatest need of the institutions are met. But we're still learning a lot from where we are and ultimately where ultimately this settlement is going. There could be a lot of changes between now and when the judge makes those final hearings and rulings. So right now we're just kind of trying to stay ahead of the process. But when it comes to name, image, and likeness, we are for it. We think that this kind of levels the playing field some, so the Southwestern Athletic Conference schools can get in from an institutional standpoint, and as they generate those dollars, be able to give those directly to those student athletes that deserve the name, image, and likeness dollars.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
So this question is just piggybacking off of generating more revenue. The SWAC championship is one of the premier events in which you're able to generate a lot of revenue for SWAC schools. Is there any plan in place to possibly further monetize the SWAC championship by possibly placing it at a certain venue for a couple of years and getting a big brand sponsorship, similar to, I guess, like the MEAC SWAC Challenge or something that would incentivize the SWAC championship, being that it is one of the premier FCS games?
Well, to be clear, our SWAC championship generates more money for our individual institution than the Celebration Bowl does. We do have major sponsors that are attached to our SWAC championship. Our title sponsor is Pepsi. Our presenting sponsor is General Motors. Jackson State will host that game this year, so they will be able to retain all of the revenue that's generated from ticket sales, from parking, from their local sponsorships. Again, we don't ask to see their books, but we do know that Jackson State generated over $1.5 million the previous time that they hosted. A lot of the dollars that are distributed back to the schools are from our corporate sponsorship program. So not only does Jackson get to keep those dollars, they're able to get dollars that are generated from the overall corporate partner program. If you go back and you look at the history of the SWAC championship game, when I became commissioner in 2018, the Council of Presidents had voted to make that the last year of the SWAC championship because we were at a neutral location. The SWAC football championship literally took all of the revenue. It almost bankrupted the Southwestern Athletic Conference to the point to where the council voted not to have a game, just send our champion to the Celebration Bowl. Moving that game back on campus has not only re-energized our championship, it has made it something that fans are excited about, as well as generating a tremendous amount of revenue for the institution, as well as the city that the game is played in. So our council, our athletic directors, we talk about this every year. Do you want it to move to a central location, or do you want to keep it as is? And each and every time they have voted to keep it as the current format is, where the home institution gets to host.
Thank you so much, Commissioner McClelland.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll try to get one more quick question, a final question. Doc Holliday.
Commissioner, over the summer we had a discussion about the SWAC championship game and the participants in there. You told me that the SWAC champion, well, the division champion might have at least 2 losses in the division. How do you feel about your prediction now?
Well, clearly I was wrong. But I do think we were as competitive as I thought, Doc. And I think that was my initial thought, that the SWAC was going to be very competitive. And I think the thing that we missed, not just me, but the individuals that were saying who's going to finish first, second, and third. No one saw Jackson State. No one saw Southern having the seasons that they had, thinking that they were possibly going to be rebuilding. But that's what the Southwestern Athletic Conference is all about. We don't know. But I do think if you go back and you look at the games that were lost by certain teams by, single digits, there's some teams that very well finished 4-7 that could have been 9-2, if they had a field goal here or another touchdown there that passes were dropped. So I think this was one of our most competitive seasons. But congratulations to what both Southern University did and Jackson State did. It's a testament to Coach Taylor and Coach Graves as to what they have put out there on the field and the rigors of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We saw where Valley went in and beat a very good Florida A&M team. So you can't let up any week within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So it was very competitive, and I'm very, very proud, enthusiastic as to what we were able to accomplish this year on the gridiron.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner, I know we've went over your time. We do appreciate your patience, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, we now move over to Southern University. We'll be joined by Coach Graves. Once again, if you do have questions, we ask you please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Graves with Southern University. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Doing great, Coach, and appreciate you as always taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out just with an opening statement. Obviously, you had the Bayou Classic, just kind of recapping that game and then previewing the upcoming championship at Jackson State.
Well, yeah, last week on Saturday, we participated in the 51st annual Bayou Classic, and it did not disappoint. Tremendous crowd, great luncheon, all the career fairs and everything they had, health fairs, all those things were well. It was a well-attended game. Like I said, it was an outstanding crowd. The players were fired up, played. We played well. We were fortunate to come out with the win, 24-14. And we were glad that we were able to send the seniors out on their last Bayou Classic with the win and just to win in general. And we wanted to do that for the Jaguar Nation. This week we have the we have an opportunity to represent the Western Division and head to Jackson State or to Jackson, Mississippi to play Jackson State in the SWAC championship game. We'll start tonight rather, in our game prep. And the coaches are working right now, and then we'll practice tonight, and we'll prepare every day this week to go in and play against a really good Jackson State football team. Hats off to my good friend and colleague, Coach T.C. Taylor. Congratulations for being named Coach of the Year. Glad to see him doing well. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Burnett family at Alabama A&M and the entire Alabama A&M family. Just know that we're here for you. We're praying and lifting you up because we're all one family at the end of the day. And again, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to go into Jackson and play against a good football team for the championship. We're excited. We're preparing, and we'll be ready to go on Saturday.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We do have several questions already there filled up in the queue, so please limit your questions just to one initial question. Feel free to re-raise your hand. If we've got time, we will circle our way back to get additional questions answered. With that being said, first question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach Graves.
Good morning, Charles. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to ask this question. Over the last 3 weeks, we've seen Jalen Woods, your quarterback, and I wanted to just ask, what has he brought to this offense where you've been able to, continue this win streak that you've had over the last 4 weeks?
Well, Jalen, as he said before, he prepares every day as a starter, and I think all of our quarterbacks do that. And he had an opportunity and a chance to get a chance to start and play well. And what he does is he's a cool head and he's even keeled. He really he takes the coaching well, and he really understands what we're trying to do to facilitate our offense. And so I guess basically just trusting what Coach Frederick, our offense coordinator, and Coach Totten, is the quarterback's coach, is coaching them to do. I think that's allowed him to, number one, to get great experience, and number two, to have some success of moving our offense forward.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Graves, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. How you doing?
I'm blessed. Congratulations on the Bayou Classic victory. Talk about your defense headed into Jackson, what you'd like to see on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, still, just to play with the passion and intensity that we played with. They played a really, really good game last week. Anytime that you can hold a team to 0 third down conversions and less than 200 yards total offense, then you're playing pretty good defense. You're playing championship defense. And we know that Jackson State they have some weapons on offense. They're formidable. And we got to continue to work and make sure that we're doing what we have to do in terms of assignments and alignments and things of that nature, making sure our eyes in the right place. We just got to execute. I think if we execute and do what we have to do, we give ourselves a good chance.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBC Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Graves.
Good morning.
I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you congratulations for winning the Western Division, which means you earn a spot in the SWAC championship game.
Thank you.
No doubt. Well deserved. I want to focus a little bit about the defensive side of the ball, continue that talk in terms of being a very formidable defense. As you know, in terms of conference stats, you're second, allowing less than 19 points a game, which is formidable. But it seems like you've been able to do that by stopping the run. Talk a little bit about those players on that side of the ball and what you will need to do, be able to continue to do about stopping the run, particularly in this SWAC championship game on Saturday.
Well, Coach Henry Miller is our defensive coordinator, and he's done a tremendous job, as well as the defensive staff. Those guys have done a really, really good job of preparing our guys and coaching those guys and getting them ready to play week in and week out. I think what's important, of course, Kelby Givens is our bell cow, but then Darius Harry is the other bookend on the other side. And then inside we have Davin Cotton and Willie Miles and Zach Sheen, and those guys are inside, and Jelani Davis. Those guys up front have been doing a really good job of really carrying out their assignments, and then at the linebacker spots, Derek Williams and Vincent Page. Those guys are stalwarts in the inside, and then, those guys really get the guys lined up. And then on the back end, of course, Horatio Johnson, Rodney Johnson, Trey Harriman Bristol III, and Elijah West. Those guys are the guys that really do a good job. And Jamarius Brown is also another safety back there who does a really good job of communicating. Those guys work well together, and we just have to play our style of football, and we got to make sure that we're assignment sound, we're gap sound, we got to tackle well, we got to pursue and run to the football, and then when we get an opportunity to take the ball away, we have to take the ball away.
Next
Thank you,
question.
Coach. Braves, good luck this weekend. Sorry about that.
Next question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Hey, Coach, you played Jackson State once this year, a long time ago, and I just want to see if you could quantify how much this team has changed and what's different about it from that first meeting.
Good morning, Jim. Well, we played them early on, and they had their way with us because they won the football game, and I think that we have gotten better every week in a totality of a football team. I think that we've been able to identify the guys that we had. Of course, we had some new guys, and we had to find out how well they would play in our system in live games, not just practice and scrimmages, and to get this, their feet planted on a solid foundation of what we expected and how we wanted to play. And I think those guys have done that for the most part. I think those guys have gotten to know each other, to work together, to gel together. And so the overall team chemistry has come together since the early part of the year. And you see the results of it because we're actually having an opportunity to play Jackson again in the SWAC championship game.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Next question goes to Mona Stapleton.
Good morning, Coach Graves. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Congratulations, of course, on clinching the SWAC West.
Thank you.
And, of course, winning the Bayou Classic. I wanted to basically ask you a little bit about comparing and contrasting the beginning of the season when you played Jackson State early on to now versus Grambling. So in the beginning of the season, your Southern quarterbacks, they threw for 387 yards against that game versus Jackson State. But versus Southern, you were able, you only had 188 yards, but you kind of balanced it out with the rushing game. You were able to have 209 rushing yards versus Southern versus only 29 versus Jackson State. So can you please just expound a little bit about your offense and how they've grown significantly and how this will translate in the SWAC championship game?
Well, I think, at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the season, we were still, as I said earlier, we were still getting to know our guys. Those guys had to play together. They had to understand what it was like to play together in real games and live games. And we returned one starter from last year's team on the offensive line. So it was a growing process with the growing pains we had to go through. We had three new quarterbacks, getting an opportunity to lead our offense. And we had a new offensive coordinator, who came in the spring. But again, nothing beats game experience. So, all those factors make a difference. And, those guys continue to hang in and trust and believe in Coach Frederick's scheme and system and trust what the offensive coaches have been preaching and coaching and teaching. So it's great to see that those guys stayed focused and locked in and believed and trusted in those coaches. So to have some success, in terms of what we did versus Jackson the first game, statistically, it really doesn't equate to what we did versus Grambling in the Bayou Classic, simply because it's two different teams and two different situations. Passing against Jackson was because we were chasing points, we were behind. So naturally, you got to throw the football. If you don't have explosive run plays, you got to throw the football in order to try to give yourselves a chance to come back to win. So, those numbers are based on a lot of those numbers are based on that we were behind and chasing points versus Grambling. We had the lead, and we were able to have success running the football. So, as I've always said, with our teams, what we're going to do, we're going to always do what we need to do to win, give ourselves a chance to win the football game. So, whatever that looks like, whatever that calls for, that's what we're going to do. It's not, we don't go into a game saying that, hey, we want to have this many yards throwing, we want to have this many yards rushing. Our thing is we want to use the people and what we need to do to give ourselves the best chance of winning the game.
Thank you, Coach Graves. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach Doc Holliday, HBC Overdrive. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
I'm doing good. Your season turned around after the FAMU game where you were still up and down. You were 4-3 going into that FAMU game in Tallahassee. After that game, you have been on a 4-game winning streak. What was the things that you actually either changed or implemented to make sure you get to this winning streak and get to this point being a championship game?
Well, we didn't change anything. We just kept demanding and pushing and stressing to those guys how important it is to do your job and do your job well, and just trusting what we're doing. The system works. You just got to go out and execute, and I think that's what we did. We didn't have a magic wand or crystal ball or anything. No fire and brimstone speeches to get those guys to turn it on. It was on, and the thing is, you got to be consistent one way or the other. And I think early on we were consistently inconsistent sometimes of what we were doing, and those guys saw what the inconsistencies were, and they worked to improve and to get consistent doing things the right way. And so because of that, we've been fortunate and blessed to have an opportunity to be where we are right now.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
Right. Thank you.
Got time for two more questions. First one goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Keisha.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Congratulations on your third consecutive Bayou Classic win.
Thank you.
Now let's speak to Kelby Givens. We saw a lot of play, a lot of good stuff out of Kelby Givens over the past weekend, including being named co-defensive player of the year by the SWAC. Can you speak to that and how proud you are of him as a player at this moment?
I'm elated. I'm ecstatic about him being chosen as the SWAC co-defensive player of the year, because he's put in the work. I've been knowing Kelby since Kelby was born, and I've watched Kelby over the years grow and develop into the young man that he is now, and he's an even better young man off the field than he is on the field. And I tell people this all the time, and I tell my team, if you want an example of reaping what you sow, look at Kelby Givens. And by no means is he perfect, as none of us are. He strives for perfection, knowing that he'll never obtain it, but he lives and walks in excellence. So, and that's what it's all about. Kelby puts in the work every single day. And because of that, he's been rewarded a co-defensive player of the year. So I'm not surprised. And I'm elated for him because the young man, he puts in, I mean, he's a leader. amongst the community, amongst the campus and the university. He's a leader amongst the team. So, good things happen to you when you do those things and you put others before yourself. And so for him to get that honor, I'm extremely excited for him.
All right. Well, good luck, Coach, this weekend, and see you in Jackson.
All right. Thank you.
Last question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Coach, these guys have totally dominated the conference. Coach TC Taylor has been named the Coach of the Year in the conference. Irv Mulligan, Travis Terrell. What is the message to your team? On top of all that, you've got to play the first half without Herman Brister III. So what is the message to the team going into Jackson this week?
The message is always the same. We got to prepare. We got to be ready to go, and we got to start fast and finish strong. Regardless of the situation, regardless of who's out, who's playing, who's not playing. That's why it's next man up. That's why you got to have guys prepared and ready to go to play. Congratulations again to Coach TC Taylor for being Coach of the Year. Congratulations to all of his players who earned and were awarded all conference accolades. And we got to play football. We got to play the game on the field. It's not those things are great and nice, but at the end of the day, we got to play football and we got to be ready to go. So it's nothing that I'm gonna say that's gonna, something that's gonna be so dynamic to where that's gonna get them. We got to do what we're capable of doing, and we got to be ready to go. We got to prepare. We got to execute if we want to give ourselves a chance to be successful. So the mission and the goal is always the same. So we'll go on as business as usual. We made adjustments with when Trey had to go out in the second half, and we made the adjustments. That's why it's good to have numbers, and so we'll work with what we have until Trey has that opportunity to come back in the second half, and we're just gonna continue to play and keep working until the clock hits zero.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach Graves, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Drew.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Now we move over to Jackson State. Coach TC Taylor, once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, so happy to be joined by Coach Taylor with Jackson State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing great, Coach, and appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, obviously bye week for your program. If you could just start us off just kind of recapping your past week of preparation and previewing the upcoming game against Southern.
Yeah, it's always good to get that bye week, coming off a physical game, that last football game against Alcorn. Players get to get home, see some family, enjoy Thanksgiving, but we were able to get some good work in, prior to those days, giving those our players that time off. So it was good. You get ahead a little bit on scouting some teams and recruiting as well. So it was good for our coaches and our players. Big game this week. Big game this week is postseason football. Coach Graves is doing a heck of a job with that Southern team. They've grown since we played them earlier in the season. They got a lot of questions answered, and they playing at a high level. Kelby Givens is a great football player on the defensive side of the ball. That defense is playing at a high level. They're running the ball well. So it's going to be a great football game here in the city of Jackson. I look forward to hosting a SWAC championship here in the city, and we're very excited about it. Our players are up for the challenge, and, this is something that we plan for all year, to give ourselves a chance to, opportunity to play for a SWAC championship and potentially a Celebration Bowl berth. So we're looking forward to it and excited about it, and looking forward to this weekend.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach, and congratulations for being named Coach of the Year. We'll open up for questions. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, Chuck. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I want to offer congratulations as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I wanted to ask this question. Over the last 6 weeks now, You guys have only surrendered 10 points in the second half of games. And I wanted to ask you about just what is it that your defensive staff is seeing that you're making the correct adjustments week in, week out?
I think you hit the nail on the head right there talking about adjustments. They do a great job of making adjustments at the half in football games. We always go in and, you have those initial game plans as a football team, but sometimes teams can come out and give you something a little different in the first half. And another thing that we really stress is finishing games the right way. That was something that we didn't do well last year, so we've done a better job of that. But it's like you said, our defensive staff does a great job relaying and making those adjustments at the half, getting those adjustments to the players, and they go out in the second half and playing and executing in those second half of ball games. And it's been a difference in a lot of close football games for us. I think it's like 3 or 4 games that our defense had to close out football games for us. So they've been doing a great job of it. And so it's been an emphasis for us all summer. So that's what you're seeing this year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Wilton Jackson.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
I'm good. Wilt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. So my question is this. Obviously, you played Southern earlier this year, but to take a step back, you've played in this game before, a SWAC championship game against Southern. And also you've been on the sideline coaching in a SWAC championship as far as like as an assistant against Southern in previous years. When you look at like more so like the postseason games against Southern, what did you learn from those games, and how do you plan to like apply it to this one, knowing what's at stake?
I mean, when you get to the postseason, you can really throw out everything that went on in the regular season. It's one and done if you don't come out and perform the right way. Southern right now is the best in the West. We're the best in the East, and the hats off to them, and hats off to our football team and our staff as well. But it's postseason football, and both teams are going to come out hard, play extremely hard, trying to get that celebration berth and opportunity to play for a national title and win a SWAC championship. So, all cards are on the table right there, and you just want to come out and play your best football. Mistake-free, things like that. Defensively, you want to try to create turnovers, get guys to the ground. And offensively, you got to score points. But when it's postseason football, we talked about it, the level of play has to, really go up in a football game like this.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
All right, several questions still in the queue. Please limit your questions to one initial question. Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
It's good. How you doing, James?
I'm blessed. Congratulations on the Coach of the Year. Talk a little bit about the offensive line and the D-line, the trenches, and how important that is and how they're operating this time of year.
Yeah, they're doing a great job for us. When we built this thing going into this season, myself and my coaches, we knew that there were strength in numbers, and it's paid off big time for us on the offensive line and the defensive line. We always going to preach physicality on both sides of the ball, and that's what you've seen this season. We've done an awesome job of being able to run the football and stop the run with our defensive line. But it's just the strength in numbers, and those guys, a lot of times that's where a lot of the injuries occur. So you don't want a lot of drop off in football games week in, week out with those two positions. But the size of our offensive line, the physicality they play with, and they play together. They do a good job of playing together. And on that defensive line, we just got some veterans over there as well that's been really playing at a high level.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck. 8-0, 5-0.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, talk a little bit about Irv Mulligan and what he's meant to this team. I know an offensive player can a lot of times be a guy that helps the defense. What has he done for y'all this year?
He's just been that voice on the football team. After coming back, matter of fact, early in the season against Southern this year, he was kind of rusty early on, but now he's really, hit strides right here finishing the season. But he's the unquestioned leader, one of the unquestioned leaders on this football team. When he speaks, the rest of the team listens, but he does it by example. If you come watch him practice and see how he prepares each week, getting ready for football games, you understand the leadership side to him. But the players respect him a lot. I got a lot of respect for him, with everything that he's gone through this season off the field, and still be able to go out there and do the things he does week in, week out. We wouldn't be here without him. I can honestly say that we wouldn't be here without Irv Mulligan on this football team.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Next question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. Of course, like everybody said, congratulations on being named Coach of the Year.
Thank you.
Can you speak to freshman newcomer Travis Terrell? Can you speak to how you are feeling about him and the accolades that he just received from the SWAC?
So excited for Travis. You know, when we were recruiting him out of Creekside over in Atlanta, Georgia, when I went over and did the home visit with him and sat with him and his parents, I told him, you know, that he would be able to make an impact as a true freshman on this football team. And he came in and lived up to that. You know, the things that he brought to the table with our special teams in the return game is without being said. And just, you know, him getting the ball in space and just, you know, coming in as a true freshman, it's always tough, you know, playing college ball. But he's really stepped up to the plate and done a great job for us. I'm excited about it, you know, him being around and one of the pivotal pieces going forward with this football team. But he's been dynamite all year. You just try to figure out ways to get him the football in space, and he takes care of the rest. You know, that's what we talk about in the kickoff returns, punt returns, the things we design for him on offense. So I'm very excited about everything that he's bringing to the table. But I still, like I tell him all the time, his best football is still ahead of him. He's still growing, still learning a lot about the game. So he's going to be a great player here for Jackson State University.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend and see you in Jackson.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to Timona Stapleton.
Good morning, Coach. TC, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm great. Of course, congratulations on being named SWAC Coach of the Year.
Thank you.
Heading into the SWAC championship, you had the benefit of the bye week, which allowed you to evaluate Southern's recent performance. Earlier in the season, you held Southern to just 29 rushing yards. As we can see, the Jackson State dominance at the defense has been, you know, pretty consistent. But Southern's offense has evolved. What is your game plan going into this week or this weekend's game, especially seeing Southern twice and keeping your players grounded so that they don't lose sight of what's ahead and you know, it being possibly a closer game than the beginning of the season?
Yeah. I mean, we just got to come out and play our brand of football. You know, every week I preach to the team about playing with that physicality on both sides of the ball. No difference with the defense, especially. We got to stop the run. And they're doing it right now, a great job of running the football. They got a quarterback back there that they believe in. They can throw the football around. Receiver over there that can really run and create mismatches, you know, in the slot position over there, and some guys on the outside. So it's going to be a totally different ball game, you know, and we just got to come out and you know, play our brand of football, you know, come out, play physical, take care of the football, and, you know, score points and try to give our defense that lead because, you know, our strength is when we're rushing the passer. You know, we want to try to create a lead going into this weekend with that game and, you know, just take that run game away and make them one-dimensional.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Dr. Cavill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach T.C. Taylor.
Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
A lot of congratulations are in order, Coach. Congratulations, obviously, on winning the Eastern Division, doing it in such a way that you earned the right to host the championship game.
Thank you.
And then with the announcement this morning of the second consecutive year, you were recognized as the Coach of the Year for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Come a long way, Coach. Remember when you were toiling through this, actually when you started as a player and then deciding to have the opportunity to get in coaching and move forward. So a lot of work you put out. I've seen you grind and come up. So it's good to see that your talents have been recognized by your peers.
Thank you, Doc. That means a lot, man. I appreciate that.
The question I have is, it's not always, I should say, or often may be correct as well. The team has the talent and the coaching acumen to lead the conference both offensively and defensively, at least as it's measured by the stats and scoring. And Similar in your special teams, you've been up there at the top of your conference. What goes in the architect of designing a team or getting enough talent to be able to do that? And how does that figure in this type of game of being able to be solid on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the beginning of of the start of it all. When you're evaluating and when we had to revamp our coaching staff, you want to make sure you're bringing in the right coaches, guys that can recruit, develop players. And those are the two pet peeves of mine. Can you recruit? Can you develop players? And this coaching staff, they're young, but they are very good coaches and got bright futures across the board on offense and on defense. We got some guys that's really great football coaches. They do a great job of getting here and scheming people week in, week out, and developing these guys and get them in the best situation. And, I hit on the recruiting piece, bringing in the right type of players. There was a lot of talented kids that we did pass on because we just felt like they didn't fit our culture and the way we did things on a day-to-day basis. So we wanted to make sure, we always tried to make sure we were getting the right kid in here that fits our culture, not just a kid that can play football, but just would be a good teammate up in here. And it's paid dividends for us, and that's why we are where we are right now. And we got to continue to do that. Going into this weekend, you talked about the stats and everything that being at the top for is all three phases. When you get to postseason, Doc, to be honest, none of that matters. You're just trying to win this football game. None of that matters, whether it's on the defensive side, whether it's on the offensive side, whether it's the special teams going out there and doing their thing. You just want to try to find a way in the end to have, one more point ahead than Southern. And that's how we're looking at it, to try to we got to figure out a way to beat a good Southern football team for a second time. And that's always difficult when you're playing a team for a second time at home. We know they want some get back. We know that they want some get back, and everything is on the table. You talk about a SWAC championship, so we just got to go out there and try to figure out ways to get one more point and come out victorious this weekend, Doc.
Makes sense. It sounds like a true coach of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
It. Thank you, Doc.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach TC, how you doing today?
What's going on, Doc? How you doing?
Doing good. First of all, congratulations on Coach of the Year.
Thank you.
And second of all, you did give me my sound bite of the year from last week. But we talk about all the players that's on the team. We talk about Irv and given what he went through this past from last season to this season. But we really haven't touched on the first recruit that you recruited to the team when you took over as head coach, and that is Isaiah Guthrie. Give us a synopsis of what he means to this program and what he means to you as a player and as a man.
I mean, we were talking about Irv, that unquestioned leader, one of those unquestioned leaders. Isaiah is that next guy. Again, when he speaks, the team listens. He's a true student of the game, though. I mean, he really loves the game. He's always talking about football. He's in here all the time with the coaches, coming up with ideas and ways to, things that he likes and wants to implement for his defense. So he's going to be a great coach in waiting, And like you said, one of my early recruits, one of the guys that committed to me early when I first took this thing over. So he's going to be a great coach in this business. If not an opportunity to play in the NFL, he's going to be an awesome coach, like I said. But the team loves him. And the team loves him because they respect and they see how he works on a day-to-day basis and just what he brings to the table. When he's out there on the football field, he's ready for every moment because he studied film so much. So everything that these offenses throws at him, he gets us right. He gets us lined up and gets everybody in position.
Appreciate your time, Coach, and good luck this weekend. See you in Jackson.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Doc.
Time for two more questions. First one goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you, Perry. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coach, let's talk about your quarterback play. You started off the season rotating quarterbacks, and at some point, Jacobian became your guy, and you've stuck with him the rest of the way. Talk about his play.
He's been great. He's been great. He was solid for us last year. I challenged him all summer. The things that wanted to see him get better at far as reading defenses and understanding where the football goes, and just executing clean plays for us. It's like you said, he came out the first game, played well against Monroe, had a solid performance, came in some other games as a backup and did some great things. And then I think it was maybe week 4, we went on and decided that he was going to be the guy going forward. And he's done a great job, distributing the football, understanding the game plans, going out there and executing and just leading his team. He's a vocal guy as well that doesn't mind getting up and saying what needs to be said to the football team in those critical moments. And, and also generating explosive plays. Against Texas Southern, he has a crucial 60, 70-yard run in that football game. The connection between him and the receivers, he's been doing a great job. And the things that he's had to go through, we're down 3, possibly 4 starters at receiver, and still offensively, he comes out there week in, week out, and gets us up and down the field and generating those points for us. So he's been doing a great job for us.
Thank you, Coach. And again, congratulations on Coach of the Year award.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Last question goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you doing, Dwayne?
I'm doing pretty good. First off, congratulations on all your accomplishments for this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I know you're familiar with the cliche, familiarity breeds contempt. Now, this is JSU's 3rd time in the SWAC championship game over the last 4 seasons, and your program has beaten Southern 5 straight times. What is your message to your program to guide them away from a potential malaise going into Saturday's matchup?
Yeah, I told them this on yesterday. Regardless of who the opponent, we worked our butts off to get here. And that, regardless of whoever we're playing against. But again, hats off to Southern and Coach T. Gray is a great friend of mine. But regardless who we're playing, we wanted to be and have an opportunity to be playing in December. A lot of teams are, done with football right now. So we gave ourselves that opportunity. So we owe it to ourselves to go out this weekend and play, our best football. And it's postseason football, but we worked all summer for this moment. We recruited for this moment, got the right coaches in here for this moment. So we're looking forward to it and want to come out there and execute and play well in front of our home crowd here in Jax.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coach Taylor, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Concludes our SWAC Football Championship Media Session. And just a reminder that each SWAC Football Media Session is archived on the SWAC Digital Network YouTube. Thanks so much for your participation. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank